Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm the CEO, president, and co founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in Silicon Valley. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I've been involved in 17 startups and 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world and opportunities are not. And with that, I'd like to introduce my good friend, Dr. Srikant Parthasarathy. You got to help me with this, Srikant. Your name is really hard. Can you pronounce it Parthasarathy?
The best way to go about it is just SP. No prefixes. Just SP would do great.
Okay,
Um,
SP. That one I'm easy with. This is not easy. Why is that? I gotta Shrikant. Why? Are different parts of India, do they have longer names? Is there, does it are there actually regional names, or is it how does it work?
so Indian names are a conjugate of many languages, right? And one of the primary languages that they've conjugated on it is Pat. I mean, is on Sanskrit, and Sanskrit has typically a four syllable or a five syllable kind of word, and it conjugates together. So what happens is when you try to so the Indian names, I mean traditional Indian names like mine, I mean not the names that you see right now, have a meaning to it. And for example, Parthasarathi actually means Parth, which means that Arjuna,
Yeah.
who was in the battlefield, and Sarathi, the one who is a charioteer to Arjuna.
Parthasarathi, the a charioteer. Yeah.
Yes, so the charioteer of Arjuna is Parthasarathi. So that's a conjugal word that you see, and it's got a lot of meaning. It's
No,
not it's not religious. It's not
no,
religious as
I
such.
appreciate that. Fowler is very simple. We would follow birds around. That's the one thing about English names, especially from the UK. Miller, Fowler, it's pretty easy to figure out where they come from. So it's interesting. But that's interesting. Parthasarathi. Uh, and let's talk about it. What's happening right now from your standpoint, Srikant? If we look at India, there's incredible amount of opportunity. So today, and then what's happening with and then we look at the changing climate of investment in Asia. A lot of dynamic politics taking place today. Where is it today? What's happening?
In India, I believe the tech adoption took off at a very fast pace. So there was a literal climb in the tech adoption that happened. For example, the era that could be divided in India at least could be two parts. One was a COVID pre and the COVID post, and much before that was the smartphone in India. Versus a smartphone not in India. I recall so vibrantly that in that about 7 years, not even 7 years ago, 6 years ago, I was using such a basic smartphone with absolutely access to internet, which was abysmal, and I had to pay literally 300 $400 a month to just get the amount of data. I get the same amount of data in $3. That's the amount of potential that it has reached in India. I believe telecom sectors have done that particular revolutionary shift. Now fast forward to COVID, what has happened is they've literally built on the mobile phone platform or the mobile phone technology which had penetrated to the rural population. Let's face it, India is a 1.3 billion population country, and they've penetrated about 70% of the market in terms of smartphones. And imagine 70% of the smartphones getting 1.5 GB per day, which translates to 45 GB per month, which translates to yeah, I can't even do the math on the 510 GBs per annum. That's a huge amount of data. That's half a TB of data, which is available to an average consumer every year. And
Yeah, I know.
imagine what the consumer is going to do with that. The consumer is just going to go on a shopping spree, and the consumer is just going to go on an entertainment spree, and that sprung off a lot of activities which happened. And during the COVID era, what happened was education took off big time. Video streaming platforms took on a big time. The theaters, the typical cinema halls started closing down, not closing down. I mean, it was just a double whammy, so to speak. Theaters were shut down due to COVID, and then yeah, you had this mobile, you had the Netflix actually coming up, and so on and so forth. A very interesting data point for you, Gary. India has 5 million users, 5 million subscribers of Netflix, but 500 million users of Netflix. It,
5 million subscribers, but 5 million users. So what do be people do? Get their friends and they all come into the same thing, and then five families set up.
no, no,
Wow.
it could just be the fact that I mean, that's a problem that Netflix is currently trying to solve, which is the fact that they're not able to penetrate enough, and they're not able to get people paying for the platform. And look at it. I mean, Netflix costs not even $3. If I'm not wrong, the last time I checked, it costs about $2 per month for me to access a Netflix account.
Mhm.
That's what you get. If you walk into a Walmart, and not even a Walmart, you walk into a 7-Eleven, and get a donut or something of that sort. Uh,
You're making
$2
me
is
hungry right
nothing.
now. I'm thinking about a Dunkin' Donut. I got to say, I didn't eat my lunch. I just, it didn't cross my mind till you mentioned it.
No, coming to the point is that, I mean, I think now that the base is set, the next level that people are exploring is on the fact that, look, they've got a solid background of technology. They've gotten used to technology now. They know how to operate advanced technologies, and so on and so forth. So what is happening right now from a consumer point of view is the consumer is asking for more, and India is one of the most demanding consumers that you would ever get. As a matter of fact, there were CEOs who recorded openly, and this was from a very, very prominent CEO, that Indian customers are being more and more demanding in terms of the service output that they get, and the service quality that they get. I'm not talking about the service quality from a have we served you well, is the feedback good, and so on and so forth. It's about the quality of content, and so on and so forth. So I believe on that front, I believe the consolidation is happening right now in India, where people are now getting, I would say, used to or acclimatized to the old things that occurred in the past. I mean, not to malign any video streaming platforms. Let's take a look at YouTube, right? I'm no in no way associated with YouTube, or nor do I subscribe to it, or do I endorse it, or in any form. But I'm just taking it as an example. YouTube tried to do something called YouTube Originals, where it tried to produce movies. Nobody bought it. The plain and simple reason is the the quality of content which is expected by the Indian consumer is phenomenal. I'm not saying that the content has to be. I mean, I'm not saying that the content is Academy Award winner kind of content, but the content that they are looking for is something that would mind blow them. And this habit of being mind blown and having this serotonin, or dopamine, I would say, rush every time that they see something, it has somehow set in an Indian consumer. And that's where you will find all these bitcoins or cryptocurrencies, which is mind boggling, right? Which is
Right.
something that you can't really fathom, and which is something of a new domain. I believe from a new domain perspective, anything which is a new domain will sell in India. And I mean, if Tesla brings in Tesla cars are already over here, but if Tesla brings in a program where they can send Indians off to space, people will buy it, and people have the means and an economic advantage to actually buy it. So there are so many things that have happened simultaneously in the past 7 years, that there has been an economic enrichment. The data is cheap. The people have gotten used to innovative slash new avenues, and the dopamine rush is too difficult to actually let go. And that
Yeah.
is what you will see in India at the moment. I mean, this absolutely blanket to any sector. For example, in healthcare, we are talking about doctors actually performing robotic surgeries, by having a patient who is situated, say thousands of miles away, and doing a video consultation. We wouldn't have even imagined that kind of consultation. When I was in London, we used to go to the NHS, and we used to get our consultation and so on, take a token, and so on and so forth. But India has gotten used to. I mean, this just takes me back to that 2008 movie Wally,
Yeah.
where everything was being
I love
done.
that show, Srikant. I like that. Wally, Eva, Eva. Yeah, I loved it. It was
but
so kind. Such a nice movie, by the way.
but the point is, Indians have gotten used to it. I mean, I think the fact that anything that is innovative, anything that is intriguing to a customer, will sell in India. But the caveat is, the Indian consumers are smart. They know in a split second to distinguish between a good one and a crappy one.
And how do
And
they
if it's
know? How do they
crappy,
know, Srikant? How do they know?
I mean, it's just the 2 years of experience. I mean, I was telling someone the other day, the 2 years of experience in COVID has made them sit at home and watch weird stuff. I mean, I'm talking about absolute weird stuff, that they have knowledge of things which are good and knowledge of things that are bad, and they can clearly distinguish. I mean, 2 years in COVID is equivalent to a 20 years in a physical setting. Let's face it,
So they've
right?
moved into the virtual world.
They are in a metaverse. I was telling
Yeah, yeah.
someone the other day, they are in a metaverse right now as we speak.
I think you're right about it because we've moved into this metaverse, and but as we move into that metaverse, Srikant, do you think we've lost compassion?
Uh, that's a philosophical question. I mean, Jordan Peterson maybe a better person to actually, or Freud may be a better person to answer that particular the question. But from a compassion point of view, I believe compassion is coming uh, in with its own attachment. And when I say its own attachment, compassion is no longer a innate virtue. It is a compassion that needs to be beamed out to the world. So if I'm compassionate, I need to tell someone that, look, I'm compassionate. And this beaming out to the world, I mean, it is also supported by all these platforms which tell you how compassionate you are, and the social.
I mean, it's, and the reason I'm saying that, I just had a metaverse company. We have one from Austria, and the metaverse company, very high net worth individuals, ultra high net worth. But one of the things they talk about, things like compassion and empathy, that we've lost that as a society. And so in the metaverse world, we need to go down through. We used to be kind, right? We used to give sugar. If you ran out of a cup of sugar, I remember my mom would have me go to the nearest neighbor, and we would go over and borrow a cup of sugar or a stick of butter. And then as soon as you got one of your own, you would give them one back, right? This is the way it worked. And we kind of lost that kind of humanity, I would say. And it's interesting in the metaverse, in my opinion, can go two different ways. We either can enhance and tokenize things like compassion, empathy, and really reward it, or we can go to the other side and just keep it more, more. I don't want to say cold, but um, straight and pragmatic, and the compassionate part, and part of being humans, as we're going to see, and we move into artificial intelligence, unsupervised, semi-supervised AI, is we're going to move into these. If we don't move in a compassionate world, where do we come in, right? And so the question is, you see these models and they say not nice things if they're based on pragmatism, so why do they need us? And going to that point, in India, you see a lot of incredible companies, right? They're in AI, they're in blockchain, they're in fintech, just incredible companies coming out of places like IIT, Madras. The people from IIM are running them. There's just a tidal wave of these companies coming out. What are they looking at? What are they focusing on from your standpoint, Srikant? What do you see? And what are their goals? I mean, I'm just asking as just across the board. I mean, what do you think they want to achieve, and what do they want to do?
Um, uh, the sector which is never going to die is definitely healthcare, right? Irrespective of whether you're a metaverse or
I like how you said that. The sector that's never going to die, but it will die. But the person does, the sector doesn't, right? So the key is to live longer.
paradox.
But yeah, you're right.
Healthcare is definitely going to be an area. So I believe within healthcare, the traditional system of having a clinic, a dispensary, a general physician who you could I mean, remember those times when these general physicians used to come with a bag, they used to open it and they used to
That was a
perform certain things.
long, long time ago. You know what I mean?
In the past seven
In
years,
the US.
we used to have that even 10 years ago, by
Wow,
the way,
that's amazing. Really?
right? Yes, even 10 years ago. But after this data revolution that happened, or the access to data, the internet, so to speak, actually happened. I believe healthcare has become more and more catering to from a customer specific or a patient specific, outcome specific. For example, I walked into the hospital. I had a recent traumatic incident in which my father had to undergo a surgery and so on and so forth, and a great display banner in front of a very large hospital which has been running for the past 70 years or so, which has built a great brand, uh, says that if you are not out within 3 days, we will compensate you for any additional time that you spend, and we will
They will
guarantee that you will
compensate
be.
you.
Sorry.
They'll compensate you for if you're longer than 3 days in the hospital.
They will actually take care of all the medical activities that could take place, or all the medical
Well, they
facilities that they'll
probably take it
provide.
off the doctors and you know what I mean? It's probably their incentive because they don't want people to take up time in a hospital, right?
uh, that is one thing. The other part is they are becoming more outcome specific. They're saying that, look, if you're coming in for a heart surgery, I can tell you, reasonably predict that you will be out by tomorrow, and this will be the exact cost that you will incur for
You
this
got it.
particular procedure. And this visibility is something that people wanted. I mean, that is something which was not visible in a typical healthcare industry, wasn't it? I mean, you went into a ECU, and you never knew what is going to happen. I mean, sepsis, so on, God forbid, and so on and so forth. But they assured you that we will not have anything of that sort actually happen to you, and they literally cap your fees or your financial outgo for that
Wow, that's
particular
amazing.
hospital by saying that, look, this is the maximum that you're going to incur. And that's a tremendous I would say advertisement, not advertisement, responsibility
I mean, the
on
only thing
the.
I'd be nervous about, I can be honest with you, Srikant, I would be worried that they try to rush you out because you incentivize the doctors to get you out too soon, and you go home and you're not really ready to do it. You know what I mean? I would be only concerned about that because as much as there's similarities in surgeries, there's 20% difference. And if you happen to be in that 20% and you're staying longer for whatever reason, it just who's being incentivized to make you come out? Is it ratings by the doctors? Do they get more, 5 stars if they do it, or is their pay impacted if they don't get people out in time? I'm not saying I don't know what's right or wrong, but I actually like the idea that you can stay in longer because then at least you got people watching and make sure you're recovered.
No, they actually mentioned the clause. I mean, they actually mentioned the term that you'll be cured by the time you go out, which
I
means
got
that I'm not going to send you without curing you.
well,
And
that I like. I'm not sure how they can guarantee that. That sounds like they need somebody like you to come in. I mean, I like that idea. If they're going to guarantee you're going to be okay and get you out, then it's fine. That's great.
so I mean, there's one non-technological adoption that has happened. So there's a non-technological.
Yeah.
So one more thing which I saw in a recent hospital, in a recent healthcare facility, was the fact that, look, in 3 days you'll be out, and then 7 days later, our doctors are going to be checking in on you, through video calls and so on and so forth, and we are going to make sure that everything is all right.
Well, that's not
Uh,
bad. I
you
can
know,
understand that. I got that part of it. That's
yes,
good. And
that
that's
is
why the
that is
technology is really interesting, right? Because a lot of
that.
people, you can have the best doctor in India check you. Now imagine if you had some device that's at your computer where it starts to go down through and do some analysis and send it back over to that doctor. So, you don't even have to go see him or her, but you have that, diagnosis done. And oh, by the way, they can prescribe you medicine and start you down the process.
True, and I believe so. That is one area which is not going to change at all. Incidentally, I do not know if I'll get into trouble by saying this. The dating industry is going to change in India. I mean, we're talking about virtual settings, right? And we're talking about
Well, who
a
do you
sit-
know you're dating? That's the other problem. I mean, you got these things. What are they? What's it called when somebody uh, catfishes you, right? Catfishing. When there's somebody, I had somebody just say that. He said, "Hey, I get online with this woman, and she sends me a picture that's like 25 years younger, and she sends it over, and I'm talking to her for 2 months, and I start like feeling, becoming engaged in this relationship. We have like this virtual relationship, and he meets her, and she's 25 years older and a lot heavier. And I'm not saying heavy's bad. I'm just saying it wasn't what he bargained for. So it's interesting. And now imagine with technology, you can create your own avatar. You can make that person. I mean, you can
true.
become somebody else. So what's real and what's not in that situation? It's going to be, but if it's going to happen, there's a lot of technologists in India that can do those kind of things to program it to be able to, for the AR, VR, XR capabilities to make what we just talked about real. And in fact, I'm sure today it is real. It's just a matter of finding it and putting it into one of those dating apps.
And dating is another thing, and the third thing that I would mention is the so one thing which will never fade away is the fact that uh, dating aside, the fact that education, right? Education is never going to fade away, and from an education perspective, uh, however technological advancement that could occur, as a parent. uh, you are typically bound to get the best for your child, right? Look at the top tier universities all across the globe, right? Harvard, Stanfords, and Cambridges, and so on and so forth. Everyone has started an online class, right? And there is something called an engaged learning model that they deploy. And the engaged learning model is basically, creating an avatar of you in the class, literally creating an avatar
Yeah.
of you in the class. And this particular avatar of yours will basically interact with the professor and so on and so forth. So I believe that is also something which was being heavily explored. Fintech, the usual rigmarole in terms of the fintech and so on and so forth, is being explored. While we are on the dating side of thing, one important thing which we are missing out, which is a elephant in the room, is a maiming platforms. uh, India is so big on maiming that literally the political opinions, as well as the look at a particular meme site right now. You will gather more news from a meme site than you will gather from a news channel with
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the geo events which are happening around us. Maiming is becoming a big thing, and maiming is literally used as a data analytic point by a lot of companies to find out where the opinions are situated of different people. And these are in I mean, we are not talking about metaverse over here, but these are incognito people, right? We're not talking
Yeah.
about real people over here. These are incognito people
I
who
mean, you
are
never
posting.
know. The problem is you don't know. I just had a conversation with a guy from Vancouver, and he had an avatar. You couldn't tell if it was him or the avatar. I mean, quite frankly, the thing would talk to you, and I mean, it's like it was. I don't know what he looks like actually.
so
Well,
so
I don't know with he or her. I don't know who it was on the other. All I can tell you is that he or her are really smart, and we had a good conversation. But the avatar would get up and stand and talk and walk and sit down and look like a regular person. Actually, it was very interesting. But that said, I mean the times are changing. Srikant, we're coming to the top of the hour, top of the show. So closing thoughts on India and the future, and then also how do people reach out to you?
India is such a promising market, very difficult customers to crack. But once you crack, they're going to be. I can't promise loyalty. As long as you innovate, you're on the safer side. So India requires a lot of innovation. So if you innovate, and if you keep on innovating, then India is a great. I mean, 1.3 billion population. They are absolutely going to like it, right? But while this is a closing thought, my father is 70 years old, and he scrolls on Facebook, and you would be surprised by the fact as to how he operates Facebook and how he chats with people and so on and so forth. Facebook is of course old. Now he has upgraded himself to Instagram. A 70
There
year
you
old
go. Is he modeling and doing this? Is he going to be on TikTok doing the dancing stuff with you, or what's going to happen next?
I don't know. I don't know if he's in. I mean, he's in incognito in TikTok as well. But
Yeah.
India. I think we were constricted in our view by saying that India is just restricted to the millennials in terms of the idea generation and so on and so forth. I believe the older population is also something that we should be looking at. So that is India for you. Uh, unlike any other bigger populated countries around the world. Uh, Data is cheap, so there's a lot of innovation that could go on. The intellectual capital is quite high, and so on and so forth. So with that, my concluding thoughts on India is: be optimistic about India, whatever your political inclinations about India are. India is still about intellectual capital, and producing great ideas which could be listed in the NYSE and so on and so forth. So India as a platform to take it to a global platform is much cheaper than producing it globally and bringing it to India. So that is something that investors need to keep in mind. And Indian startups slash global startups should actually be looking at India as a potential threat, because India can literally replicate. India is equivalent to another country which is not so popular right now because of all the health concerns that we have around us. Is equally competent of replicating anything that you can produce in any other country.
Mm-hmm.
So be aware of that particular fact, and that is India for you. And if
And
you
that's
want to
an
reach out,
opportunity. That's a great opportunity, right?
absolutely. So you can reach out to me at in LinkedIn. It's a plain Dr. Srikant Parthasarathy, uh, not SP, Dr. Srikant Parthasarathy with a Mandarin name attached to it. That is me. And more than happy to have a conversation over here, and indeed a privilege to be with such a prolific investor and such a magnificent personality like you, Gary.
What? I wonder who you were talking about for a second, Srikant. You shocked me. I was going, well, this sounds great, but it must be the wrong show.
Indeed, it is not. It is
Yeah,
you.
it's great. Hey, listen, to my audience out there, listen, there's incredible opportunities in India. The people are super intelligent, understand technology, understand what's happening in the market on the leading edge. Universities, systems like IIT and IIM are really thought leaders from around the world. To all my friends out there, we need to work together as a planet to solve a lot of the issues. We need to stop fighting. We need to go down through and start figuring out how we can help each other and bring some love and compassion to the world, because that's what it's all about. And that's the way we are. We're only here one time on this planet, in my opinion. And the situation is we need to understand how to treat each other the right way. So, with that being said, my name's Gary Fowler, and I'm the host of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. For each and every one of you, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay happy. Stay tuned again for another show, another exciting show next Tuesday. I'll be back, same channel, same time, and I'll see you then. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye. Thank you, Srikant.
Thank you. Bye bye.